Hey, listeners and viewers, hope all is well. If you're anything like me, then you probably enjoy a little research and investigation from time to time. Also, if you're anything like me, you likely enjoy sharing what you feel may be an important topic or something that can strike a stimulating conversation. Well, hopefully that's what this will be. Let's see.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress?
I was.
Look again.
The thing is, we've sort of made ourselves slaves to our digital devices without even realizing, or worse, without admitting it. That's why today I wanted to share something that I've been struggling to put to words without potentially shaming vast swaths of users. Let me direct your attention to an article that sort of stood out to me entitled How to Break Your Phone Addiction. Now, I think this is pretty important. I won't be reading the entire page, but I'll leave a link in the show notes for you to check out. Let's start at the beginning. I got my first smartphone in the summer of 2012, and ever since I found myself wishing I'd stuck with my flip phone. It's not that I hate my iPhone exactly, but I frequently hate how I use it. I check it all the time, especially when I'm in the middle of hard work requiring concentration and effort. Full disclosure, I suffered from the same thing, and in many ways, I still do. But let's be clear, I'm not advocating total technological abandonment. Even if you're aware of the biometrics, sensitive data collection, and continual audio-video surveillance via mobiles, you can't escape it by simply ditching your phone. Almost everyone is carrying an eye and an ear in their pockets nowadays. The moment you visit someone, their devices are picking you up. A question that comes to mind, though, is why can these devices be so seductive? Well, let's continue. With the world of possibilities it presents, the phone has become something that rewards us for looking at it, no matter where we are or what we're trying to do. That's a powerful pull, said Adrian Ward, a professor of marketing at the University of Texas at Austin. We are always carrying around this attentional, gravitational black hole, he said. In a study published last year, and we'll get to that study in just a moment, Ward and his colleagues asked participants to place their devices close and in sight, nearby and out of sight, or in another room. Then the researchers tested participants' cognitive capacity. The results suggested that just having your smartphone present affects cognitive capacity even if you aren't checking it or thinking about it. We have a limited supply of cognitive resources, and the effort required to not pay attention to your phone siphons off some of those resources, Ward said. The study also showed that the more you depend on your phone, the more likely you are to suffer from its presence. Putting the phone face down or even turning it off doesn't solve the problem. Now here's the aforementioned study from University of Chicago's website. It's just one of the many studies that begin to reveal some of the effects our devices can have on us beyond their potentially carcinogenic frequencies and radiation. The title of this study is called Brain Drain. The mere presence of one's own smartphone reduces available cognitive capacity. For the sake of time, I'm going to read from the abstract here, but I encourage at least some of you to read through the procedures and a few of the implications. It's cited and has some length for those rarefied few out there who care to take a look. The abstract reads, our smartphones enable and encourage constant connection to information, entertainment, and each other. They put the world at our fingertips and rarely leave our sides. Although these devices have immense potential to improve welfare, their persistent presence may come at a cognitive cost. In this research, we test the brain drain hypothesis that the mere presence of one's own smartphone may occupy limited capacity cognitive resources, thereby leaving fewer resources available for other tasks and undercutting cognitive performance. Results from 2 experiments indicate that even when people are successful at maintaining sustained attention, as when avoiding the temptation to check their phones, the mere presence of these devices reduces available cognitive capacity. Moreover, these cognitive costs are highest for those highest in smartphone dependence. We conclude by discussing the practical implications of this smartphone-induced brain drain for consumer decision-making and consumer welfare. Now, it's called the brain drain for a reason, and here's one. Smartphones often lure us into multitasking. Think of all the ways you can use them when you're doing something else. I don't know that I've ever had a text conversation without simultaneously doing something else. This can be fatal in the case of distracted driving or walking. Now, let me just take the time out to pause and say she is not exaggerating the lethality behind walking and cell phone use. Let's take a look. It's gotten so bad in the last 5 years that some places are putting laws into effect.
Doing just what I said don't do. It goes in effect in Honolulu today. And TJ Holmes, he's outside Times Square with the details. TJ, I thought you'd be in Honolulu. What's up? Good morning.
Yeah, right. I tried, Stray. But for the follow-up, we'll do that. But hey, this is not funny, right? We can't even, half of us at least, can't even walk and chew gum, and we actually think we can walk and have a conversation while looking down. Well, you've seen people do this, and maybe they run into a wall, and that's funny. But what if they step out in front of a city bus? That's not funny. That's dangerous, and at least in one place, it's now illegal.
So many of us get that urge to check out our phones for just a second while we're crossing the street.
I think I have pretty good peripheral vision.
You didn't see a car, though.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Like this poor guy who was texting away and then ran right into a wall. Or this frightening scene, a bear on the loose, and this distracted man walking right towards him. This morning, one major city is saying no more texting and walking across the street. Honolulu putting a law in effect today, stating that if you're caught doing this, you'll be paying a $35 fine. The number of pedestrians killed in traffic accidents has risen 22% since 2014, so some states like California are considering a statewide law to enforce no texting and walking. California already has warning signs in some areas. This one reads, "Cross the street, then update Facebook." And in January, the state will be considering a statewide law to enforce it.
But getting back to the article, we cannot effectively focus on two things at once, and it takes time for your brain to switch between tasks. That means multitasking actually doesn't improve productivity, said Elmar Carrier, an experimental psychologist at California State University, Dominguez Hills. Research suggests that for college students, multitasking while studying and during lectures negatively affects overall learning and grades, he said. A study by Gloria Mark, a professor of informatics at the University of California, Irvine, and colleagues shows that only after 20 minutes of interrupted work, people reported significantly higher stress, frustration, workload, effort, and pressure. The article goes on to say, "My biggest struggle with my phone is that I check it more often than is necessary, and then I feel bad afterwards. People mistakenly assume you have to like something to do it over and over again," said Adam Alter, a professor of marketing at New York University and the author of Irresistible, a book about behavioral technology addiction. That's a logical assumption because there's a strong correlation between how much we enjoy something and how much we do it, he said, but it's not a perfect correlation. We overeat while hating the feeling of having overeaten. We fall in love with people who aren't good for us and come back for more. I haven't experienced disrupted sleep from my phone, but plenty of other people have. Regardless of whether we're truly addicted to phones and other technology, many people don't like their phone habits but find it very difficult to change them. Personally, the content of both the article and the study can be adapted for use within the context of conversational acuity or stagnancy, respectively. That is, to say it more plainly, if you're distracted by your phone or the thought of your phone during an engagement that requires cognitive real estate, you run the risk of being less affluent in certain social aspects. I'm talking about the times when you may be in a one-on-one setting and the other party still isn't entirely present. They're either responding to text, surfing the web, or posting status updates while claiming you have undivided attention or that they're listening. Listening maybe, but not actively hearing. Again, something in this article popped out at me, likely because it helped to wrap my head around how so many people seem disengaged from real-world scenarios and why reaching them can be so difficult. In today's society, you've got to be strategic with your conversation and express your opinions tactfully if you're to stand a chance against the high levels of mental manipulation and the triggering of individuals through media buzzwords. When talking to someone, a stranger, maybe even a friend, you have to avoid particular phrases and speech to not be categorized in one of the abundance of labels that come with fetters of societal scorn. It's in situations like that Matthew 7:6 comes to mind. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. I wouldn't go as far as calling my work pearls, but at least today's episode goes to show that it isn't always the one conveying the information that's cognitively blemished, if you catch my drift. Now how's that for a hardline position, right? Anyway, take care of yourself out there.